Did you know that weak passwords and outdated software are the top reasons workstations get hacked? If you're not securing your devices properly, you're leaving the door wide open for cyber criminals. But what if you could lock down your workstation with just a few simple steps? In this video, we'll show you how to secure your workstation, from creating strong passwords and managing user accounts to encrypting your data and disabling risky features like auto run. Ready to protect your system like a pro? Let's dive in. Secure workstations. In this course, we will look at some security points to secure workstations. Passwords. And we start with password management. Often, hackers will use our passwords to break into our systems. Indeed, since most often these passwords are chosen by humans, and the human brain is not very good at remembering random strings of characters, while many passwords end up being too simple or too frequently used. As we have seen previously, hackers have techniques to compromise this type of weak password. In France, the CNIL, the National Commission for Information Technology and Civil Liberties of France, advises using a password of at least 12 characters, including at least one number, one capital letter, and one special character. To remember the password more easily, she advises the use of a passphrase rather than a password. In companies, it is not uncommon to apply a password expiration date in order to force users to renew them regularly. Generally, every 30 days, or 60 days, or 6 months. Most often, a password history is also recorded so that the user does not cycle between two passwords each time he changes, and that he creates a new password. It is often recommended to protect the exit from the screensaver with a password. In the same way that your phone locks after a while, computers go to sleep after a period of non-use. It is possible to configure this screensaver to lock the computer as well. The username and password to wake up will then be the same as to log in to your user account. It is also possible to secure the computer with a password directly at the BIOS level, and therefore when the computer starts. There are two types of passwords: the administrator or supervisor password, which helps secure access and BIOS changes; the user password, which simply secures the startup of the computer before the OS starts. Finally, it's important to note that many devices and software have default usernames and passwords. It's important to remember to change them for all devices, as these passwords are often cited in equipment manuals or on websites. User account management. To secure workstations, it is important to have rigorous management of user accounts. User groups are most often created with different group policies and permissions for each group. Users are then associated with each of these groups according to their place in the company. It is thus possible in these group policies to define rules such as number of attempts to unlock a seat, rotating passwords every month, for example, impose restrictions on the hours of login to an account to prevent attacks outside of working hours, lock the screen after a while without using. It is important to manage these accounts regularly and to lock or deactivate unnecessary accounts, such as those of employees who have left the company or the guest account. Disable auto run. Autorun.inf was simply a feature that allowed you to automatically launch an executable when a CD or disk was connected. In terms of security, we don't want applications to launch automatically without even knowing in advance what a disk contains, and that's why it's advisable to disable auto run. To disable auto run, you need to edit a key in the following registry. Create a new doored value named Honor Auto Run Setting, with its value set to 1. Note that Auto Run was a feature available from Windows 95 to Windows XP. Support for Windows XP ended in 2014, so you will normally never need to do this. Data encryption. To ensure that no one can access the information contained on the disks, it is always worthwhile to use data encryption techniques. If you want to encrypt all files on all disks in a system, including system files, and therefore the operating system, you can use BitLocker. If you want to encrypt only a few files and folders, you can use EFS, which is Encryption File System. Finally, if you want to encrypt the data contained on an external drive or a USB stick, well, you can use BitLocker to go. If you use encryption for your data, it's extremely important that you have a way to find your keys in case they forget. Otherwise, your data may be lost forever. Patch and update management. The systems we use are not infallible, and every day, vulnerabilities are discovered and then fixed. When a vulnerability is discovered, it usually takes little time for hackers to exploit it. They are sometimes even exploited before they are even revealed. The best way to be well protected and to have a system and the applications used always up to date, because these updates may contain security patches intended to repair vulnerabilities. In an enterprise setting, updates can sometimes conflict with existing configurations or applications. It's not uncommon for IT to test updates, often on virtualized systems, to make sure everything works after those updates before deploying them.